What's coming? Oh gosh, I'm accepting something.
Did you hear that?
I did. It said you've signed away all your rights to David B. and David B. Enterprises.
You clearly did not read the fine print, because that is what happened. You know what? I love the fact that each of us brought something else to do. You kept the banana going, and hey, potassium, right? Can't live without it. But I can't.
All right. We'll agree to disagree on that. Got it.
Oh, the I forgot, potassium is a hot button issue. We don't want to get, this is not a hot button issue though right now for both of us.
Oh, it is actually, but I want to hear your take. Go ahead.
The Tigers are just going to go 162-0 in the American League Central this year. And I don't know, the Yankees may drop a game or two, but you guys are off to a good start, unless I missed something.
You beat the Mets. Come on. That's not even a flex. Come on.
They won the 1969 World Series. Amazing Mets. Gil Hodges was the manager.
Yeah.
Ron Swoboda.
You're right.
Do you know any of the players?
Oh yeah, personally, yeah. I grew up with a few of those guys. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You live right next door to Cleon Jones.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. He was my upstairs neighbor. Yeah.
Lived down the hall.
Tommy Hagee's kid and I, we went to grammar school. We took the same bus. We were bused in.
What?
PS 63.
Because you're from New York, it's got to be PS.
Yeah. Is that not how they do it everywhere else in the country?
No, they have names. They like name the schools after.
Oh.
Although isn't Horace Mann a famous?
Yeah, Horace Mann is a really expensive private school.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
that's
that Harrison Bader went to. So shout out to Harrison Bader. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's a
Bronxville guy.
He started out privileged then, I'm assuming.
I mean, I'm not going to get into all that. I don't know his finances. I don't know his dad or mom's finances, but yeah, he went to Horace Mann. He could have gone on a scholarship. I don't know.
Who knows? Who knows?
We're going to agree to disagree on this too.
All right. I can see this is going to be my most controversial episode. And before we get into this, and people are mistaken. I did another episode with a terrific actor where we went a White Sox fan, and we almost turned it into. I was like,
poor guy,
right,
poor guy. Yeah, come on, let him live. Let him have something.
It was the saddest interview, I think, at least that portion. But then I'm Tigers guy. Okay, let me do my official introduction here, Pete. Hang on. Think this is my 11th episode. You think I might know this, but give me anonymous artists, and which means Sidney Mermelstein is involved. We can talk about that another time. I present the Dave Bean is a C-List Actor Zoomcast with my special guest, actor Peter Pasco. I call him Pete. Maybe you can too. But actor / playwright.
Yeah.
Peter Pasco. You are now a hyphenate. How does that feel?
It's doubly depressing because as an actor, it's really depressing because nobody wants you, and then as a playwright, it's even more depressing because no one wants you again. So it's So this side was depressed, and now this side's depressed, and now I'm basically I'm just sinking slowly.
All right, you want to thank me for my quickest episode? Yeah. Very good. You can catch Pete down at the Chuckle Hut in Cleveland on Fridays.
I will never perform in Cleveland again.
No.
I just want to say that. I'm going to put that out there.
Okay.
But Dave, seriously, you cannot be really hyped about this. The Mets are a shit team. I mean, I know they have this amazing payroll, but the Mets, come on, the Mets are going to win 70 games this year.
Okay.
If they do, if, that's a huge if.
Okay, you can call me delusional, but I'm saying that once David Wright comes off the DL, all bets are off. Okay?
Yeah.
Howard Johnson, David Wright,
wow.
Okay.
They're going to play at the same time, at the same position. One's going to hit, the other's going to feel. Yeah.
Have I missed a news flash here? Okay, let me okay, straighten something out for me first. Okay.
All right.
Are you are you from the Bronx or are you from Brooklyn?
Yes, I'm from the Bronx.
Oh, you're from the Bronx.
Yeah, I mean, I was born in Brooklyn, but that doesn't
Right.
count because I don't have control over where I'm born.
Right. Right.
But no, I was raised in the Bronx. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you spent, was it like your parents or whatever the situation was? Uh,
Yes, my familia. Yes, thank
the
you, Dave.
familia got you from a hospital there and then just,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. They were like, "Here,
okay.
take this one, please." They were like, "Are you
Okay.
sure this is ours?" They're
Is
like,
this the
"Look,
one? Oh
this
gosh.
is what
Okay.
you got. This is what you
Did
got
they
right now."
save
It's
the receipt?
I I don't think so because back then they
Too
didn't
late.
give receipts. Back
Yeah.
then it was just like a cash system,
It was a,
It was just like, yeah, yeah, you pay, you take it, and you can get to the corner and you unwrap it and like, wait, this is only half of what I paid for it, and it's just like, you paid for it.
okay, wait. So you said you pay and you take it. So it is your pronoun then. I just want to make a
Yes, that
note.
is correct. Oh, this
Okay.
is
All right.
hard. This is how
Yeah.
you get canceled, sir. This
Yeah.
is how you get canceled.
I'm
Um,
I'm being respectful and I'm honoring what you've told me. So, I want you to be comfortable here on the
I do
Dave is
refer
a
to
C-List
babies
Actor
as
Zoomcast.
its. Yeah, babies
Yeah.
should be referred to as its because let's be
Yeah.
honest, we don't know what they are. They're weird.
They're just
They
weird. They
just
should just be called
cry, they shit,
weirdos.
yeah, they
Weirdos.
scream.
So so you're a kid in the Bronx. And we're gonna get to, I want to get to
Oh yeah, let's go
the
there.
current stuff. But let's go to the kid in the Bronx. How old were you when you either maybe read a play, saw a movie? Is
Um,
is that your ride?
yeah,
Is your
yeah, yeah.
ride here?
Somebody's waiting for me right now. They're coming to take me away.
Did you think this was a 5-minute mini segment?
Pretty
Uh,
much. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Tell them the whole,
Um
or is that your DoorDash order? Is that food?
I still haven't gotten into DoorDash, Dave. So if you
Yeah.
want to explain it to me, I'd be more than happy to listen right now to understand what that is.
Whether,
Because
yeah,
no, no,
because
no, I'm really serious, like
you
dead ass. I still go ahead. Please explain.
okay.
What is this?
Apps on a phone, press a button, order
I
food,
got that part.
they bring it to you. That's
So why can't you just order it from the place? Is my question. Like for example, this is a restaurant, right? That you're,
right,
the
right.
Chinese
Yeah,
joint at the corner. So
right.
instead of you can order it there and have them deliver to you. Why do you got to go through DoorDash? Why do you need to involve somebody else?
I agree, but my understanding with places like Uber and DoorDash is that at least, and I've hardly ever used these, but the times that I have had ordered from the place, they've gone ahead and used DoorDash from their end of it anyway.
Hmm.
So somehow the DoorDash people have become a middleman in the food the industrial
The food
food
chain.
complex.
Oh,
So and the food. So what was the first, if you can, or among the first plays or movies or something you read or saw where you said, I want to be up there doing that?
um, oh man. I mean, honestly, I had no aspirations to act as a child. I was a shy kid, so
Well,
I
let's as a teenager or as an adult. I mean, you went to
yeah,
NYU,
yeah,
so
yeah.
clearly you made a choice at some
Yeah, no,
point.
I did go to NYU, but I was at the college. I was in the College of Art and Sciences, so I didn't go to Tisch.
Okay, right, right.
I had aspirations to. Uh, I went into NYU thinking I would study psychology, but then
Hmm.
somewhere along the line,
Yeah,
I wanted to write poetry,
right. Oh, wow.
which I was like, yeah, I was really moved by a lot of poetry like Lorca and Neruda. So I
Mm,
was like, oh, I want to be a poet. And
yeah,
at some point in my sophomore junior year, I was just like, yeah, I'm not gonna. I realize I'm not gonna ever make money, and I'm just gonna live like an artist's life, which is the
right,
dumbest thing to ever say or to wish upon yourself.
right,
Really, yeah. I
right.
mean, yeah. Look at you. You're wearing a shirt for a self tape. You're like a blue screening yourself for your self tape. Yeah. So yeah,
Pretty
and
much.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
I'm ready right
exactly.
now for a self tape to happen.
At any
So,
moment, if we leave, if all of a sudden, folks, there's nobody on the screen, that means both of us got an audition. Right, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm willing to
Exactly.
shave. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't until I'll fast forward. It
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah. Yeah.
until my senior year I went through
Yeah.
what
What lit the
was a
fire?
very difficult time for me.
Yeah.
Because I broke up or had a breakup with a girl that I was with. We
Yeah.
were together about 4 years, a little over
Yeah.
4 years.
Right.
So my world had ended at that
Yeah.
point. I was
Understood.
cutting classes. I was just hanging out at Bopst and
Right.
crying in the stacks or just watching
Right.
movies
Yeah.
because they had a really great film library. So
Right. Right.
I got sucked into just watching some stuff
What did you
that
watch?
was
Give me some specifics.
Dog Day Afternoon.
Ah,
Was first time I saw it
excellent.
was at Bopst, and
Attica. Yeah.
yeah. Oh, this is a great film.
Yeah.
The,
John
the
Cazale. Do you say Cazale or Cazale? I don't know
uh,
how.
I
Any.
just call him Johnny. I call him Johnny.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
because we're like this.
One of the best film actors. I think he made just like 5
5
films
films, and they were
before.
all Academy
Yeah.
Award nominated. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And his girlfriend was no slouch, as they say, Meryl something.
What's it?
But
Yeah, I can't remember her last name. I think she
yeah,
did okay with
I
whatever
think she
did.
did all right. Yeah. 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 And her kids are okay. But anyway, so Dog Day Afternoon.
It's good that you know about her kids, Dave.
I have
I'm
to
glad
know
that you're up to speed with them.
Grace, Mamie,
Oh, you really do
Henry.
know her kids. Wow,
Oh,
good for you. I know she
yeah.
has kids who act, but I don't know the
Yeah.
names.
Louisa, Grace, and Mamie are the girls. They act.
And if you're watching, Dave's
yeah.
giving you a shout out. Yeah.
Yeah, and Uncle Dave, okay, I'll make up for the whole thing at Christmas dinner. Okay, I owe you guys. But yeah, and then I believe there's Henry, who is a different, either a musician or a sculptor like his dad,
Okay.
Don
Still an
Gummer. I
artist.
clearly know way too much about Merrill and the family, but
Yes,
you know,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
This is
So
very
let's
true.
go back to John Cazale, Al Pacino. So
Yes.
you're more of a Pacino? Were you more of a Pacino man or a De Niro fan, or does that not?
I'm interested to hear the two sides. I think.
You don't have to.
I mean, they're both great.
Yeah.
I guess I would lean more towards Pacino because
Yeah, yeah, I can see
for no
that.
specific reason.
No.
To me, Dog Day was, I don't know. There are really terrific film performances, and I'm probably going to remember a few in a few moments. But to me, that's one of the performances that was just whoa.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think the project that I saw that kind of made me think, it might be interesting to be involved in not performing, but maybe like say directing or something like that behind the scenes. Was there's I think his name is Alexander Volkendorf is the name of the director. He directed a version of Death of a Salesman that Malkovich and Hoffman were in.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Boy.
And I saw that. That was, I think, one of the first things that made me kind of, I guess, get an inkling of like, how does one get into this industry, like that industry?
Right.
And you know, fast forwarding, I kind of stumbled into a scene study class as I was, you know, trying to put my life together. And
was this at NYU or was this at NYU?
No, outside of NYU. Because I didn't have, there was nothing. I just kept trying to delay my graduation, and you know, the registrar's office was like, "Nah, bro, you're graduating.
You're out of here."
I was like, "No, but I'm not showing up to class, and I'm possibly going to get an incomplete." They're like, "Yeah, but you've already exceeded your credits because you keep taking so many credits, so you're good."
Exactly.
But let us show you grad school. You know, they were like, "Hey, let's go to the bursar's office and go to grad school." And then grad school was like, "Sure, just sign away your life." And I wasn't prepared to do that at the time. So
but the scene study class resonated with you.
Yeah, it somehow did, in the sense that it was things that I were feeling, I was able to just kind of put into the class.
Were you able
And
to do that right away? Like, because I know a lot of folks, we've both had acting classes where people don't participate and people suddenly realize, oh my God, I gotta like open up this body and soul of mine. Were you able to get up there and just spill right away?
yeah, I kind of was, because actually
Yeah.
even before I got into the class, I found out just through the grapevine of friends who were in Tisch of what backstage was. It's like, all right, let me
Yes.
look at
Yes.
this. And I was able to
Backstage, the magazine where they have casting notices
casting notices. Yeah,
and
yeah.
articles and things. It's specifically for actors at the time. That was yeah.
They
It
still
was
have. I mean, backstage still exists.
oh yeah,
It's just
absolutely.
online.
Right.
Yeah.
And this may have been before your time. Backstage is what served New York, and in LA they had a publication called Drama Law, which was a whole separate thing. Yeah,
I believe it.
and they used to have the Drama Log Awards, and we used to every actor in LA would get up Thursday morning, 7 a.m., hit the newsstand, buy your copy of the Drama Log, and you go to the casting notices and start sending your headshots and resumes out via snail mail. Well, it was just called mail then because you didn't have an alternative. And then eventually, I believe that Backstage purchased Drama Log, they merged, and now they're probably for the
They
past
became a
20.
monopoly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right, exactly. And then the
Now
internet
they own
came
the
along,
world.
and yeah, exactly. Again, the industrial casting complex. So, but anyway, yeah. So backstage, you're picking up backstage. Did you have
Oh,
headshots or anything like that?
no, because I didn't know anything. But the reason I bring up backstage is just because
Yeah,
I stumbled into this audition for this kids theater company that
yeah,
was basically just all improv, and I was just like, I again, not knowing anything, just
right.
going into it, and I wound up getting in and performing at a handful of shows, and
Mm-hmm.
off of that, I guess, just off of that, just I don't know, I wasn't. I mean, we're all timid, but I
Yeah,
wasn't what you were talking about of hanging back. I was just like, well,
right, right,
there's no point in doing this if you're not going to do it. So just,
right,
hit the ball my way.
right,
Just,
right.
and so, yeah, so scene study class. And in that class, seemingly a lot of people were made it seem as though in LA they were, handing out films and handing out pilots the second you get here. So
Yeah.
a buddy of mine and I were just like, well, why not drive out there?
Okay.
And yeah, it was the most egregious mistake I have ever made, because here I am. Cannot.
And
It's hard.
well, but but it's a very, I mean, I did the same. I was, in Michigan, and I packed up the Jeep and I drove to LA.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
know,
remember. Yeah, we saw you on the highway. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because the old
Exactly.
Jeep
I drove
broke
by it.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
no time.
exactly.
Gotta get a
Exactly.
pilot.
That would have required quite a time warp for you, because I'm relatively sure this was actually, could it have been before? I probably before you were
Gabe,
born.
we don't have to be coy about this. Everybody knows that we went to the same high school. I was a few years ahead of you. Yes, we all know that. We don't have to
And
mince words
everybody
about that. We
wondered
get
why
it.
the middle-aged guy within a flat top was sitting in the back, not getting involved, and now you know what happened.
Yeah, now we know.
There you,
Yeah.
now,
End of
now,
story. It's all come full circle. Yeah.
yeah.
It's a good story.
So you and your buddy, are you and your buddy who came out to LA still buddies, and is he still in LA? Is he an
Yeah.
actor?
So there's a lot of questions. So let me answer the first one.
Yes.
Yes. We were in each other's weddings, like, participating in the weddings.
Oh, great. Okay.
He moved back. He moved back within a year.
Which yeah,
Within a year, which
yeah.
is, yeah. I mean, you know how this is. So it's crazy. Yeah.
But that's, listen, you have been at it for quite a while, and I've pretty much given my whole life to the thing.
Mhm.
But most people move back wherever they come from, they're back there within, I'm convinced. I mean, I don't have the statistical data, but within 6
Who needs
months,
data?
exactly. Most people, when I look at my early acting classes that I took, and sometimes I've Googled, hey, I wonder whatever happened to so-and-so from my, you know, film industry workshops class at CBS Radford Studios in 1987. And I'm like,
That was a
you know,
good year.
yeah, it was, oh, what a year.
A lot of talent in that class.
Well, at least one survivor. I don't know about the talent.
I didn't even get into that class. Let's just be, but I mean, I'll throw that out there. And thanks a lot, CBS Radford. Go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Go fuck yourself.
Not the first one who's told them that. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, no, nobody who you start out with in this thing ever stays in the business. You know, I have one friend of mine who is a costume designer. We started out at the same time, worked on a movie in 90. She's still very much in the business. She's what I refer to as my Hollywood sister, because she's like the closest thing I've ever had. But there's nobody else who's, you know, except for a couple of folks who really made it huge. But amongst the people who knew that they were going to have to be grinders at this thing and really, you know, scratch and claw, they all had the sense to get out of there, like your friend did.
Yeah, I wish I had that good sense too. To be honest with you, yeah.
But it's in your DNA, so you couldn't have gone against your DNA.
You can see, that's the thing. You can go against your DNA. I disagree with that. For centuries, people have been going against their DNA. I mean, look, think about the idea that this is going to be like it seemed like a wild leap, but for example, when it comes to sexuality, you know, people have been in the closet for centuries, so they're going against their DNA. We go against our DNA all the time. Just, you know, actors are just so flamboyant that obviously, you know, you say like you can, but you absolutely can. It's called acting. When you go against your DNA, it's called acting. So.
And many people, including myself, have had real jobs where the best performances of my life were spent giving presentations in real life, real business meetings, saying, when the fuck can I leave this? I'm going to, and I did. Yeah. So, you know, my decade in the civilian world.
You paid your dues, yeah.
I definitely paid my dues, and I couldn't wait to get back and do the thing.
Be poor, yeah, absolutely.
Win, lose or draw, and certainly in that era, it was way more losing. A draw would have been a win, but you know, but so your buddy goes home. You stick it out. What was the? Because clearly you had some measure of success booking a job, a commercial, a movie. What was it where you say, oh, you know what, I can do this and I'm bookable, and you know, they like me, god damn it.
Yeah, I don't know that moment's happened, Dave.
Yeah. But you've been booked. I've you know.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been booked. I mean, you know, you drop my name at the 50th precinct, drop my name at the 48th precinct. There's a lot of precincts out here that know me. So yes, I've been booked for sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know that. I don't know that there's.
Was Herbie Fully Loaded the job where you said, oh, this is a real movie with a studio?
Sure.
And I've got that's a pretty substantial role in there.
No, it was great because I was there for about a month. Yeah. Well, granted, I shot maybe all of 9 total days, but they booked me for about a month.
Yeah.
And I made a whole bunch of, I was getting paid for that, for being there.
Right.
Just, you know, showing up, and you get breakfast, you get lunch. You're
amazing,
just hanging out all day, not doing anything for the most part.
Welcome to the movie business.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was a good chip that helped me get like some other things off of it, or get better representation, which they were able to get me into some other doors and whatnot. But
so did you So were you able to parlay that job into like a step up representation?
Yeah, I
Great,
was. I
great.
was at the time, and it was a lot of dumb luck in a way because that was really my first job. I
Right,
booked a
right,
commercial, so I was part of the guild, and I booked some other commercials.
right, right.
Been cut out
Yeah,
of
because you
commercials
had to
as
get you
well.
had great. So you had to get. What did you get your SAG card on? Was it on the commercial or was it on?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
a Lincoln Aviator spot.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
that's a pretty high end product.
Oh yeah.
And
Well, I only do high end, Dave. Yeah,
I
that's
I
it.
I was gonna
It's on
say
my
I
resume. Only
yeah
high end
yeah.
products.
You must be a better. I always thought you were a great actor, but you must be even better if you you know snookered the Lincoln folks.
Yes, absolutely. I want to know what that means, but I
Yeah
don't know
yeah
that we
yeah.
have enough time to figure it
No,
out.
no, we don't. So, all right. So now you've got a big league movie under your belt. You've got
Yeah.
better representation.
Hmm.
Was there a was there a point where you felt like, at least on screen, because the theater stuff I want to touch in LA because I've seen you in plays in
I'm so
LA.
sorry. Yes.
Yeah, no, and good stuff. Good stuff. You are truly you're a New York stage actor to me, and you
No,
always
thanks.
have been,
Thanks.
which is why, and I don't, which is why I wanted to work with you in the first place. Not only
Mm.
because, I mean, after having met you, well, obviously I had to have met you before I, you know,
Well, you could have
thought
dreamed me up at some point.
like
Who knows?
somebody must have,
Yeah.
right? But to me, I said this guy's a New York stage actor, and then I saw you in a play or two, and I wanted to work with you, and I was fortunate enough to work with you. But were you able to parlay that into a good stretch of work?
No.
Mm,
I mean, I was able to get book some TV gigs,
yeah.
and eventually it just happened that just the agent that I was with
Hmm.
moved to a much bigger agency at the time,
Yeah.
and I was a casualty of that move.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the management company that I was with, which was pretty reputable, they were like, "Oh, we've got you," and basically, I just fell through the cracks with them as
Right.
well.
Right. Yeah.
So then, the voices, or not the voices, but
Yeah.
the idea of like, oh, well, maybe I need to find a smaller place that will give me more attention,
Right.
and I can
Be the bigger fish in a smaller
sure,
pond. Yeah.
sure. And that search has been was pretty crazy because it was then
Yeah.
years of not necessarily having a manager or a theatrical agent. Having a
Yeah.
commercial agent has thankfully not been an issue,
Right. Right.
but the others. So it's just
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
Actors Access or trying to get whatever job you
Right.
can
Right.
wherever,
Right.
holding
Some
up
of
my headshot in places and being like,
right.
we'll act for food, or just we'll
Exactly.
act for nothing. We'll act for just
Yeah.
copy and
Yeah.
credit. Yeah.
So Actors Access and LA Casting being the web-based portals for casting. Again, I'm explaining this for folks who may not be aware of this, but yeah, those are the primary web-based portals for where you get your casting notices, and keep your profile up there, and you can submit for various roles and things like that. Yeah, I actually, boy, I really found when Actors Access, when I don't know if it came along, because again, just being a little more veteran in this industry, there was no Actors Access, and then there was, and as soon as it came about, and I jumped on board that thing, I found that Actors Access to be, I mean, I'm not going to say a gold mine, but just in terms of like, wow, okay, now I have projects, and again, I think there were a lot fewer people, because most of the people at that time, if you wanted to get cast and work in the industry, you still had to be in LA. Now
Mm,
that's not even necessarily so.
sure.
So the talent pool was pretty, it was smaller than it was now for sure. But I just thought that was like the greatest thing about LA casting, and those yeah, and every now and again I would book a job that ended up being like a you know, and on an A-list film or with A-list stars, and it was, you know, and you didn't necessarily know that when you were submitting, because you were like, what, you know, what kind of, you know, small, you know, you were just happy to have a place to ply your craft. But speaking of plying your craft, and by the way, Pete, I don't know
Yes.
if you know it, I am the segue king.
Yeah,
Speaking of,
absolutely. Yeah. You
I
gonna take
set
out some craft
myself
singles? This podcast has been sponsored by Kraft.
craft singles. Wow. Okay. So yeah, you were a kid in New York, weren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't everybody eat Kraft singles? Do they
You
not have
know,
them in Michigan?
well, no, they do, but eventually you grow out of cheese food like processed cheese
Oh,
food
here we
like,
go. Here we go. This guy. Oh, you're that
you
guy.
know,
Oh, here we
and you discover Trader Joe's where I've seen you,
go. Oh God.
and you
Oh God.
discover their little cheese wonderland. But anyway, I digress clearly. So but all the while that, you know, and again, your story is original, but it's also the common part of it is struggling and not knowing and the doubting and will I ever get another job? Were you doing theater the whole time as
Um,
well?
I went back and forth with it. I, yeah, I went back and forth just because it's also another. It's kind of a bit of a grind in the sense that I think the theater community also has a tendency to just out here specifically, let's say,
In LA.
they like to recycle. So
Yes.
it's just to say, you know, it's like, oh look, I've got a role here for a dad. Hey, we know Dave. Let's give it to Dave. Hey, I've got a role here for a guy who's a cop here. You know, we know Dave. Let's give it to
Right.
Dave. Hey, I've got a
Right.
role here for this grad student. He's in his 20s and he's a Black Panther. We know Dave. Let's give it to Dave. Like it's literally the same fucking 10 people ish that kind of get picked.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Which is also what I discovered when I relocated to New Mexico last year.
mhm.
Was and I was very excited to start participating in their theater. And they've got great, or what I they have small theaters throughout New Mexico. Clearly, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, great, all that. But they do the same thing. It leads me to believe, small sample size, that probably most communities, whether you're LA, whether you're Albuquerque,
Sure.
you know, you know, they have their favorites. It's just easier. Um, but
Yeah, I get it.
and I kind of get that as a filmmaker. I am absolutely guilty of that very same thing. Whether it was Mrs. Fitzgerald is missing, what you and I worked on, and I directed a film called Footsteps. It was
Mhm,
pretty much my same crew
mhm.
for the most part, and there was another production company involved, so we had to actually. I mean, it was a very light negotiation, but I wanted to use actually, I think the deal was they could use most of their actors that they wanted to use, but I wanted to use my crew. And then there was
Oh,
like, you know,
okay.
and then Bob Jones was, you know, a co-star of this film as well. Robert Dominic Jones, who was, you know, from Mrs. Fitzgerald's
Yeah, yeah,
book.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
but I think, you know, there's a comfort level and there's a trust level. There are actors that if I know I, you know, I can count on them, you know, especially if I know, you know, what their emotional range is and what their level of talent is, you know. But you're right, but breaking into that little circle and becoming part of that little, you know, carousel is very
Yeah.
difficult. So you found that, um, and yet, I mean, you did some pretty substantial and are doing some, but you did some pretty substantial work. What was the play that I saw you in? So this is going to go back a little ways though, where you were a restaurant work
Oh,
and you're
my mañana comes. Yeah,
okay. What
yeah.
was the name of it?
My mañana comes.
My mañana comes. Okay,
Yeah.
see,
So my tomorrow in Spanish
yo
comes.
yo entiendo, yo entiendo.
Oh wow. Look at
Yeah,
you speaking
yeah.
Yiddish. All right.
Like I said, I just got
Oh,
back
that's
from
right. That's right.
Panama,
Yeah.
and Dave went to Panama, and all my house got was this stupid mug.
I know, you
love
didn't
this
even
mug.
get to say it right. Panama.
Oh, believe me, I got corrected. I got corrected. They were like pointing out that on the A, there's a little, there's a little thing above the
Accent.
A.
It's called an
Exactly.
accent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. Like, idiot, don't forget to pronounce
El
this.
acento, yeah.
Accento, sí,
Yeah.
yo entiendo. Okay,
Yeah,
so
there we go.
yeah, now that play, are you attracted to plays that have more of like either a moral message or are, more of a societal are seeking more of a societal impact, or, you know, have you done plays that are like, My Fair Lady, or,
I have not been in My Fair Lady. Fucking CBS Radford. No.
It was them. I knew it. Okay, we can end the show right now. Yeah.
No, I haven't been in My Fair Lady. The closest
Or,
I've been to a musical
not
was
necessarily a musical, but lighter fare.
Yeah, I think it's fine to me. If I like the material, I like the material. I
Yeah.
don't think that there's anything wrong with My Fair Lady, or whether it's West Side Story or
I didn't mean to
whatever it is.
pick on the My Fair Lady and the Pygmalion folks, okay, or Rex Harrison or Audrey Hepburn, whom I also no, I didn't know either.
I went to school with her. Yeah,
With
she's
Audrey
wonderful.
Hepburn.
She's wonderful.
Oh my! Did she often ask you to go to breakfast at Tiffany's?
Once she did. Yes, I didn't get the joke though. I did not get it at all.
Oh, it's no joke. You should have gone. It was amazing.
Oh, really? Tell me more.
Yeah. No, I can't. I signed
You signed an NDA?
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah, a lot of NDA signing on Dave's part.
Your
hand must get tired because you've signed so many NDAs.
It's how I became left-handed. I started out right-handed, but carpal tunnel, which is different than the Lincoln Tunnel. But
tell me how.
I can't. I have no defense.
Okay, all right.
I have no defense. Which reminds. So, have you ever done like organized improv? Like were you part of an improv?
Yeah. I was.
Who did you improv?
Part of Comedy Sports LA.
Wow. Okay.
I mean, the company's still around.
That's right. Forgive me for interrupting. Yeah, I saw you in Comedy Sports. And Joy Mamie was also performing.
She's great. Yeah, she's great. She's great. The company is kind of defunct because it doesn't have lost its space during COVID, and just a little bit of a breakdown, I guess.
Would you want to get back involved with something like that?
I'm actually in a house team over at the Pack Theater right now. Yeah, so it's a little bit different because it's not all short form, but we get a 25 minutes long form set. So we get to pick our sets. We've been just playing with montages right now.
Right.
So it's different, but it's improv, which is good. Improv's a lot of fun.
Right before the last thing that I did in LA, stage wise, I started going right after the pandemic. The first thing that the theater company that I was involved with, which is the Antius Theater Company in Glendale. They took a very long time to beautiful theater, great company. I was so thrilled, and I wasn't part of their main stage company, but I was working in their academy, and, taking classes and starting to. Then the pandemic hit. But when the pandemic was over, I was like, okay, now we can get back to business, because I wanted to start doing, Chekhov, and one of the classes I was in was Chekhov and improv, and I was like, that is perfect for somebody like me, just perfect, to start applying all those Chekhovian characterizations in an improv environment. But that never came back, unfortunately. But what I found was there was a little comedy place in Glendale. I can't remember, but anyway, they started having an improv jam every Wednesday or Thursday night, and I've never done it. I've never done improv jams before, but I was like, oh my goodness, there's a place for me to go and just do it. and
Yeah.
you know, and they had some great hosts or great, you know, organizers, leaders of the thing, and we had different people it was just terrific. So it did give me a chance to really, you know, at least kind of exorcise those improv chops that I,
Yeah.
like you, I'm always game to like go down the path. Let's go, whether it be on stage or in real life. But anyway, so yeah, that was kind of the last thing I did before I moved out
Okay.
to New Mexico.
You know, impro. I don't know if impro has online classes still, but if you're interested, do you know impro improvises in genre entirely?
Yeah.
It's the
Yeah.
best improv. If you're an actor, it's the best.
Mm.
It's the best improv to take because you're just basically acting. You're
Right,
acting
right.
without a script.
Right,
Entirely.
which is great.
It's all
Yep.
genre. They do improvise Chekhov, improvise Shakespeare,
Beautiful.
improvise Sondheim, improvise
Right.
Tennessee Williams.
That's great.
It's fantastic. You should definitely
Yeah.
check them out. Plug them. I'm plugging them as well. Shout out to
Yeah,
Improv
yeah.
Theater because they're
Absolutely.
really fucking fantastic. I know they have in-person classes now,
Yeah.
but they also did have online classes during
Yeah.
the start of the pandemic. I don't know
Right.
if it's still continued, but if you're
Yeah.
interested, that's a great place to go.
Well, you know what? It's certainly something to look into just in terms of my knowledge base. I did do a couple of things here with they have an improv theater and company here called The Box in Albuquerque. I won't become a member or anything like that, but every now and again I stop by when they're, you know, if it's something I feel like I'm inclined to do. But it's good to know. And I mean, I think that, you know, all of these, I was originally not real thrilled about doing any kind of acting during the pandemic because I didn't want to do anything virtually. And I literally, I'm one of the folks who during the entire, I call it like a 3 year run of the 2 or 3 year run of that pandemic. I didn't talk to anybody to do any Zoom whatsoever. So of course, the irony being here I am on Zoom with the podcast that I generated because I didn't see the value in it until everything came back again. And also moving away from LA, I was like, yeah, but I want to talk to my to my creative people back in LA and in New York and in Chicago.
Sure.
And so now, you know, which is, you know, why we have Zoomcast in the name.
So wait, I'm really curious. You didn't see, so you weren't a fan of Zoom. You didn't see like a value to Zoom during those
No.
first
No.
few years.
No.
So did you ever FaceTime or Skype or anything like that?
No. No.
Ever?
No. I at the very end, as every not once. I didn't even Zoom with friends or family personally. I it wasn't like, you know, I wasn't like, you know, I wasn't like, I'm not gonna do it. It wasn't one of those things. But it was like, yeah, it didn't appeal to me. I got invited to a few Zoom things.
Of course. Yeah, everybody did. Yeah.
I turned them down. A few table reads, few plays
Mhm.
that they were doing. You know, some films that people were trying to, you know, put
Mhm.
together with you know, web-based stuff. I literally just said, now, you know what? I'm just going to wait till this whole thing is over because there's nothing like doing it in person. And I still believe that. I mean, you know, that whole conversation of, you know, auditions, they were going virtual before the pandemic. And now, of course, that's all solidified. I'm not a big fan of that, but you know, but I'm certainly not technophobic. You know, I'm pretty good with it all. But I still think as somebody who casts his own projects, and as an actor, I still think that I'm not going to get your essence as well as I want to get your vibe in person, and
Interesting.
I don't think that you're going to be able to get the vibiest vibe that I have to offer
The
unless
vibiest vibe. Yeah, hold on. Let me look that up in the Urban Dictionary to see if
yeah,
the
exactly. You
vibiest
know,
vibe.
I am pretty quotable, and you can use that one.
I
But
will. That's yeah. I'm turning that into a shirt. So, because my curiosity
yeah,
with this
yeah,
is just, the idea, and again, I'm not necessarily a fan of Zoom, or I don't own stock in the company, so I'm not trying to sell you on it. But it's, to me, there is something about it that's very similar to film acting, in the sense that, I mean, the camera's
Right.
literally right here, so I have
Right.
to, I have to know if I'm really, really close, how
Yeah.
much I can restrain. If I move back, then I can, be maybe, for lack of a better phrase, like broader or bigger, or
Yeah. A
something
little
like
more
that.
animated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that I would think, I'm not a filmmaker, so I don't know how that works. But I would think that this would give you a representation too of what somebody would look like via being on camera, because also there's sometimes the reason why auditions are taped, which
Mhm.
is, I know it's a different animal, but
No,
because
no, that's
sometimes somebody looks like this when you see
right.
them in person, but then on camera, the camera sees them slightly differently, maybe sometimes very differently. It depends on the
Right.
person, right? Obviously,
Right.
but
Right. Right.
so I was
Right.
curious.
Yeah, no, listen, your point is as a technical medium. Remember this, Pete?
A technical medium, yeah. The Long Island
No,
medium, yeah.
Long Island iced tea. Let's go back to college. I don't remember those nights. Ann Arbor, Michigan. Good time, Charlie's. Please.
Yeah.
Um,
You don't
so
remember those? We had those such great conversations,
oh
dude.
my God, I know we did. I know we did.
I mean, you were
Except
passed out and I was talking the most, but yeah,
yes,
but they
yes.
were good conversations to me.
Except that you were an attractive redhead named Beth at that time.
Oh
So
gosh, here we
yeah,
go.
yeah.
This is how you
Now,
get canceled.
no, no, because I have Zoomed with her over the years, even since college.
Oh, good
But
for you.
yeah, yeah. But okay, but here's the thing, Pete. As if this were the final product, then yeah, we're on camera,
Mhm.
right? And you're right. Let's go in for an extreme close up. Let's give myself a little do a medium, and I'll use my hands a little bit. But the thing is, manja, manja. But the thing is if I'm going to work with you, either as an actor or a director, I want to know, because now we're going to be live on set. The end product will be here,
Mhm.
but as we make the thing, we're going to be on set together. I want to know how much or how it is that I'm going to best be able to work with you. And as a director, and then as an actor, I want to know, how are you going to direct me, make those adjustments and things like that. And that you really have to get in the room, because there are those intangibles that become tangibles. You know, I've cast early on, I cast folks just by looking at their demos on IMDb and said, oh, that person would be great to play the dad.
Right, right.
Then they show up on set and they're an absolute nightmare to work with.
Oh, name names. Come on, name names.
You know?
Give me initials. Put them in the chat. 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 No, come on. I think you might have just. Did you just name my uncle? What?
Oh God, you're a good lip reader. He is a lip reader. Be careful, people, if you see him.
Wow.
But that's the sort of thing that you get from a face to face,
Mhm.
or in the room sort of thing. So because it isn't just the final performance is here, but how we get to that final performance has to, in my opinion, has to start out, especially an intimate relationship like a director and an actor, has to start out with us trusting each other, up close and personal, which is, by the way, I will tell you, the very first scene that I ever directed on, although it wasn't on film, but we still say that. But the very first scene that I ever directed, I believe it was the first scene that I ever directed on film, what was a scene with you
Oh.
in the house in Tarzana, and it was a messy kitchen, and you were having a conversation with this kidnapped woman's son. And anyway,
Mhm.
you guys are doing,
That
and
was your first one?
that was my very first scene, or at least that was
Wow.
definitely the first episode of anything that I'd ever
Wow.
directed.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah, but all I did was, kind of like copy what I saw. I
Right.
was I've been really blessed to work as you have. I've worked with some great directors. I mean, like
Mhm.
top-notch A-list directors, and I always hung around the camera crew, just trying to absorb, not even thinking at the time I wanted to direct, but I'm like, wow, I'm not going back to, either the tent or the trailer if I was lucky enough to get a little room in one of those. I want to hang here and see how the director talks to the actors and the DP and what the workflow is. And that's how I learned all that. So that by the time I showed up for our shoot, the shoot that, that you worked on, um, I was like, okay, I think I remember how this, I saw
Right.
him talk
Right.
to her talk to actors this way. And fortunately, and then I had to learn because there were some actors where I had to be, they pulled me aside and, wanted to have these
Oh yeah, yeah. Everybody's
conversations.
different. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They're
Yeah.
all different.
And in your case, I was lucky that I had the sense. I was like, okay, Pete's got this. He's got this. I didn't have to do, and that to me is a sign that I knew I wouldn't have to do a whole lot of directing with you. You know, you're
Well,
just
I think I'll tell you. To me, I think it goes. I think the rapport has to be a two-way street, right? And
yes,
I think the best way. It's like what I've seen people shoot themselves in the foot with too
hmm
many questions or too much. Or I don't want to say needy, but there's too much. That just
yeah,
like you've got the job for a reason,
right,
right? They
right,
picked you for the job,
yeah,
so you know color in the boxes however you want, color outside the boxes, whatever. But
right,
you're the person for the job. Now,
right,
if they want to change something, they'll tell you.
right,
So there should be a trust in the sense that you're good. It's almost, I guess, here's a dumb example that it's like if you're not somebody who cooks frequently, but now you have kids. Guess what? You're gonna have to cook unless you're gonna make a shitload of money to fucking eat out all the time, right?
right,
But at the same time, you're not gonna be fucking preparing every meal. Are you gonna like this? Like, do you need me to put more salt, more pepper? Like it's a fucking kid, bro. Like just cook it up, taste it yourself, trust that you're not fucking making shitty food. I mean, and
right,
granted, I get it. Sometimes people can't do it, so yeah,
yeah,
you got to order out. But
yeah, yeah,
I guess the idea of trusting that, hey, look, you're not gonna get fired. I mean, you could get fired, whatever. But the thing is, the trust that, like, look, they're gonna tell you if they want this to change, or hey, I
hmm
really like this, but let's try think of this at the end of it, because I think you
right,
might have done that a couple of times. You're just like, great, we got this one. Now can we try
yeah,
one where we yeah, and again, that's literally the job.
yeah,
The
yeah,
same thing when you're in an audition, they might give you 7 redirects,
yeah, yeah,
and you're just like, why the fuck are they redirecting me so much? And it
yeah,
just happens to do with whatever they decide to send, and you may not get that job, you may get that job. Again,
right,
it's
right,
it's only neither
right,
here nor there. But the idea that you have to be okay with just, okay, I did something, and if they change it, like,
right,
it's because bigger picture wise, this is what they're thinking. This is
right.
the story, and you're this part of the story that they want to put here, there, that whatever. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, that's a great observation. And perhaps you are have this sensibility. I always love it. I love it in auditions when I get redirected. What I don't like is when I read it one time and they say thanks, goodbye, you were great, and you leave the room. What I love is when they say, because in my mind, and again, this might just be, an actor's security blanket is, oh, okay, so we're going to continue. You want to keep me in the room now, and we're going to continue. And now what you want to see, and as somebody who's directed it is in your case, or somebody who's a very experienced actor, um,
absolutely.
now you know what they're doing. They want to see if they want to see how many colors in the rainbow are you going to offer them. They also want to see, are you just going to, I mean, the worst thing in the world as a director is to say, okay, let me see that again, and maybe you offer up a few words of try it this way because of that. Or, okay, you're feeling a little insulted here. I need to see you do the same thing. And then the actor just says it the exact same way as they did the first time. That's an actor that's not going to get booked. So I always loved it when I would get redirected, here, great. And of course, the other thing that would happen is when they'd say, hey, Dave, that was pretty good. Hey, do you have any place to go? Can you wait outside? Can you hang with us a bit?
Sure, sure.
And then they come out 5 minutes later and say, hey, we want to read you for this other part.
Yeah.
Yeah, all of a sudden, and this is something that I think you get more in person, to do a callback here on the casting thing, but you get that more in person, like, oh, you know what? Maybe Pete wasn't right for the young cop, but you know what? He's got a sense of authority in him that I didn't get originally, but I think he'd make a good lawyer. So let's have him read for the lawyer. So anyway, that's
Yeah, no. I mean, that is I mean, and I think we all have our stories and experiences. I mean, I remember one time being on the Fox lot, and I was in the casting office for Bones for like maybe 40 minutes or so, because they initially had called me in for some co-star, but at the callbacks, the producers had me do the same thing, stick around, and then they gave me the sides for this guest star spot. And then they gave me sides for a different guest star spot. So basically, I wound up reading for 4 different things. Wow. Didn't book any of them. But again, it's one of those things where it's just like, oh, well, obviously, I'm doing something okay.
Yeah.
That happened.
Right.
Otherwise, they would have just been like, fine, thanks, go.
Yeah.
I mean, not that fine thanks doesn't mean that you didn't do well either, because
right.
Fine thanks means that was great. That was what we wanted, thanks. Fine.
Yeah. And of course, you've emblazoned in their memory bank you and your performance.
Emphasis with the blaze. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And you could get that call, 6 months down the road for something completely different, maybe a whole different project.
Yeah.
So that happens as well. That happens as well. So do you remember your audition for a show called Crazy Ex-Girlfriend?
I do remember that audition.
Which I loved your character.
Oh, thanks.
I watched it. I'd already known who you were. I think we might have worked together. And I was so excited to see you on that show because I really enjoyed that show. It's Rachel Bloom, right?
Yes, that is her name.
Yeah.
I did not meet her.
And it's still her name, right?
Yes.
So
yes.
tell me about the audition for that. Was it interesting at all, or?
It was funny because so it's a very bittersweet topic. It's funny. I was just talking with a buddy of mine who's on the improv team, because he just saw the episode. He was like, I didn't know you were on that show.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what I told him. The show, the experience is very bittersweet in the sense that auditioning for it was supposed to be a recurring co-star. So I went in and I was just like, oh, this is really easy. And it's funny. Like, it's just, it's just the rant. But I signed in, and Harvey Guillen, the other, not the other, but a very well-known actor now, that from What We Do in the Shadows and many other shows. Shout out to Harvey. Not that I know him or anything like that, but he was there. I think he went before me. So I go in, I performed. The casting director basically was kind of like chuckling and like holding in laughter during my read, and just left. And I was just like, okay, cool. Like nothing to do. When I got the call that I got the role, the management company that I was working with, who I was still pretty new with, but they were also very excited because, again, like I said, it's supposed to be recurring. Shot the day. It was fun. Got to work with some good people. Got to work with Johnny Meeks, who's a really terrific improviser over at UCB. And he's the guy who's the boss of the bar. Right. I think they brought him back for a few other episodes. but they
right.
did not bring this guy back. And that was the
Oh,
thing that was, because in my
yeah,
head I was just like, oh great, maybe this is this a step up in the sense of
yeah,
like to
yeah,
getting to a recurring level. So great,
yeah,
once you get to a recurring level, that's like that added chip that you can use, that your agents can also use when when pitching you, like, hey, oh, he's the one who's on this show, blah,
right,
blah, blah, blah.
right.
It becomes so much easier to pitch a
Yeah,
person when it's like,
yeah,
oh, but he's on this show, he's playing that role, or obviously, because then people
right.
can say, oh yeah, I love that show, or oh yeah, I know that person, oh, I hate that guy, whatever it is. um well, so yeah, it was one of those where I was just like, oh great, everything went well, waiting for the phone to ring, and I'm still
Yeah,
waiting, Dave.
yeah,
So I
still,
if it does ring, in the next few minutes, I may have to get
go
off
get
this
it.
Zoom,
You
and yeah,
understood,
yeah, yeah. So
understood. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so that's
That's
fine. That's fine.
that's great. Well, it was terrific, and you were terrific in it for real. It was
Thanks.
yeah, it was great to see you just do it to me.
And Santino Fontana was also in the scene. Nice guy.
Yeah,
Went on to, he's gone on to star. He was on
right,
Tootsie and Broadway
right,
and many
right,
other
right.
things as well. Yeah,
Yeah,
really
yeah,
talented
yeah.
guy.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that happens is, when you're a grinder and you're in this for the rest of the run, as I am at this point. There's I'm not. I think my mother might think that I'll be starting over, because she.
Sorry, I'm laughing because you said when you're a grinder, and I was like, oh man, Dave doesn't know what grinder means. Keep a straight face.
Well, I am. I'm doing like the naive old guy thing. What are you talking about? That's what we used to call sports guys who came in off the bench, who, your 12-year pinch hitter off the bench. Your guy who's been in the big leagues for 12 years but only has like 200 at bats.
Manny
You know,
Mendoza. Yeah.
the Mario Mendoza, the
Oh,
Mendoza
Mary
line.
Mendoza. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you can, but I guess, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to ADR this thing and put in like different words, and it'll be very obvious that we've changed something. And then I'll put in like, Dave really said grinder here. So, but that is kind of the cool thing, is seeing people that you've worked with and they've gone on to, big giant things.
Oh
And
yeah, I mean that's one take. The other take is the one I have, which is where I hate them all. I hate them all. I
see,
want
but
them.
you're
I want
being
a
that's
piano
true.
to fall on their head.
Yes. Yes. Well, listen, we all that's the yin and the yang of being an actor is, I want everybody to be working and getting the roles, unless you're going after the role that I also want.
Correct. Correct.
Then I'd like it if there was like
Facts.
lots and lots of traffic and you don't even make it to the audition, and
Right. The piano
they
falls on you
yeah,
while you're in
yeah,
traffic.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah. And I
Yes.
did
Yes.
used to, by the way, that I did used to see the same age group bald guys in the same. There was like 6 or 7 of us,
Yeah.
and you after a while you just stop saying hello to them. You're like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
No, that's why you stopped
yeah,
talking to me. I know.
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
got tired of saying, "Hey, Dave, 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 it's me."
Wait a minute, that's so funny. Now you're joking about this. I'm trying to remember. There was an actress that I was speaking to, and it turned out that we went up, and she was like a young actress. And this for me was just maybe within the last 5 to 7 years. We went up for the exact same role because they didn't know. They were trying to keep an open mind. The character didn't have a specificity about age or gender or, whatever, which is, I mean, that's great. That's kind of the perfect world that,
Is this casting still open? Can I
can
submit? Can I
get
submit?
there?
Yeah.
But the problem is it's in Santa Monica. If you can get out there.
I'm leaving right now.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I was saying to somebody else that who's on the show as well, that eventually, and this is true, I told my agent, this is when I knew I was like over the hill. When I say over the hill, I mean from being aspirational to be like, okay, the career that I have is the career that I had, which I'm fine. I'm grateful for. At least I can say that it is something usual. Not all the time, but many times it is a career. So, but eventually, the last time my agent told me that the audition was on Friday, I'm living in Burbank at the time. Okay, so the audition is Friday, 4 o'clock, Santa Monica. I told the agent, I said, no, I'm not going. And please never ever have me go to an audition in Santa Monica. If unless it's with Marty, Francis, Stephen, or Christopher. Now Christopher, no. But anyway, so and you know
That's
what?
That's how you get on that list, huh? You got to win an Oscar to get on that list.
Pretty much. Well, I can tell you for a fact that my agent never sent me to an audition in Santa Monica. As a matter of fact, that agent never sent me to any other audition ever.
Wow.
So
they died? Oh my God.
God rest their soul. So, they died in my eyes.
Oh goodness. I didn't see that coming.
Yeah, there you go. I set you up. You set me up. I set you up.
Yeah.
Is it what they call in baseball a home run? It's a grand slam every time.
That doesn't make sense though. You can't have a grand slam every time because you need base runners first before you get the grand slam.
Do you know?
Do you see what I'm saying?
I hear what you're saying.
Do you smell what I'm cooking?
I smell what you're cooking. I know where you're coming from. Fernando Tatis Sr. Do you know what he is famous for?
Of course, yeah. He had Fernando Tatis Jr. And he also hit 2 grand slams in 1 inning. He's
exactly.
The only human being to do that. Yes.
The only, exactly right. Although I may have done it as an 8-year-old for the Southfield Wildcats.
But Wildcats? You played for the Wildcats?
I played for
the Wildcats. They didn't even
Wildcats.
give me a callback. Wow.
You can't even get a callback from a little league team.
No, I can't.
So what I want to make sure we broke
segue, clean segue. Yes.
Well, that wasn't a good one at all. All right, take 2. So
this is my segue.
So my show, I said that's a great segue. It's a great segue. So, hey, listen, a segue isn't. Remember when the world was going to get taken over by segways? We were all going to be riding those.
They still will.
Isn't going to happen.
Big Segway is going to take over.
Remember the police in malls were riding. They're the only ones that ever do segways anymore. Are the
yeah, I mean Paul Blart. Yeah, shout out to Kevin James, who's got a new special on Prime Time. Not Prime Time, Prime Video.
That is going to be my first. It took me 11 episodes to get to a shout out to Kevin James.
Kevin James, the homie.
Both Kevin James and I both had a full head of hair when we started in this industry. And finally, now he no longer has that head of hair. So,
and you're both on Amazon Prime, so.
And we're one of us has gotten the deal I made was before the new streaming deal.
Oh.
Oh my God.
You should have waited, Dave. Why didn't you wait?
You're right. I should have held out on that.
Isn't that great? I love that. That's such a thing that family still does. Like, why don't you just go on the Tonight Show so that people can? Oh yeah. Why didn't I think of that? Why don't you just get on that show with Sofia Vergara?
Exactly.
That's, yeah.
I have a person who in my life whom I love. She's one of the dearest people in my life, and God bless her. Whenever she sees Paul Giamatti in a movie or on a TV show, she will text me or call me and say, "You could have done that role."
I hope Paul doesn't hear this because that's a little hurtful to him. Oscar nominee. Shout out to Paul Giamatti. Yeah.
Well, and I will tell you the closest I ever got. I'll confess this to you. I don't know that I've ever said this out loud.
Other people listening, you know that, right?
Yeah, there's to my 56 steady viewers, most of whom have the last name of Dean. By the way, my niece is at film school, or she's studying directing at NYU.
Congrats!
Shout out to future theater director Blair Bean.
Where should I send my headshot and resume to Blair?
Could
you put that in the chat, please?
Once she lets Unc in the room to audition, Yeah, I think she's an anti-nepotism person, so you've got a better
Oh, that's even
chance.
better. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know,
I
I was
hate
gonna say,
nepotism too.
yeah,
Yeah.
don't even drop my name. But
I will not.
yes, yes. But I want to thank you. Not this isn't the end of this
Oh, okay.
episode yet. We're getting close. But before we come to that end, I do want to thank you for asking me to participate in viewing your circling back to like Zoom readings and things like that. Uh, Still actor, but now playwright.
Mm.
Peter Pasco wrote a play, and this guy invited me to view the table reading. And I have to tell you, and quite honestly, and I know you read the notes because you guys were the organization that you did that through sent the questionnaire out. I
It's all
really,
anonymous, so
it's
I don't know. I don't know if you were the one who gave the good
really,
notes or the bad notes.
oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Well, in that case, yeah, they were great notes. It was a great
Exactly.
play.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
When I woke up in the last act,
Mm-hmm. There was
yeah,
only one act, Dave.
what oh, okay. Well, when they called me and woke me up. So, okay. First of all, genuinely terrific play based on your own. What was it was the exorcism of
Close. El Exorcismo, de Georgie Garcia. Yeah.
en Espanol, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, exactly. So, an exorcism of Georgie Garcia. First of all, how much of that was this percentage wise? How much of that was your experience?
Um.
A boy battling
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
with his Catholic upbringing
Oh,
and his
a lot. A
a lot,
lot. A
I
lot. Yeah.
wow.
I mean, I started writing during the pandemic.
Hmm.
Just the I think the around May or so.
Right,
Just started writing, and then
sure.
was lucky enough to take a playwriting class in the fall,
Oh,
and I wound up
great.
finishing the first draft of a play that wound up getting some like semifinalist uh, recognition in some
Terrific.
competitions and things like that. And I kind of use that play as a little bit as a writing sample when I
Hmm.
submit to things.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I've written maybe 4 or 5. I have another 4 or 5 that are also halfway-ish done.
fantastic.
Um, and Georgie Garcia was one that I'm starting to realize is the more I do this that nobody's really going to care. No, or I should say, nobody cares. Let's be honest. Nobody gives a fuck. So any ideas that I had
Hmm.
were just kind of freed up by the idea that they don't care. Nobody's
Right,
ever going to want to see this. So I wound up
right.
pitching it. IAMA has a
Yeah.
program out here. IAMA Theater, shout out to IAMA Theater. They have a program that I got into last year at the end of from 2022 to 2023, where they help you pitch them a play. And if they select you, you are in their cohort. And then for about 11 months, you're working on your draft, and then you get a live in-person reading with a
Right,
workshop and
right.
everything, which is
Yeah,
what I got
fantastic.
last August,
Right.
which was great. I came back from working on a play in Florida, and then jumped into the playwright. Well, it's not really a playwriting hat. I was going to say wearing a playwriting hat because I just, you just sit there and watch people perform what you've written. So I'm not really doing anything. They're doing all the hard work. I'm just kind of sitting there, and either
You
I
know,
laugh or I don't.
but there you're getting to listen to the words that you put together come out of their mouths, and now they're adding their acting, hopefully expertise, and rounding out those characters, and maybe even showing you things that you didn't even anticipate. Um, so that to me, as I haven't written plays, but I've written screenplays, and watching
Mhm.
other people all of a sudden saying your words to me is a pretty exciting experience. And
It's weird. I'll say I had my first reading that I had was in
mhm.
December of 2022 of that first play.
Yeah,
Um, it got into a theater festival in Massachusetts of all places. I fucking had to go to Chelsea. So I flew into Logan Airport,
Shout out Chelsea, Massachusetts, where my late father
Here we go.
was born. Chelsea,
Oh, yeah?
Massachusetts. That is exactly the name. So if you saw Chelsea, that's the first neighborhood where I grew up, was in Chelsea and Revere, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
My
right.
dad's classmate at Chelsea Elementary School, I don't know, whatever it was named, was a guy named Albert DeSalvo, known to most of people as the Boston Strangler. Anyway,
Wow.
back to
How is he
you.
known to other people?
So, because many people don't know the name Albert DeSalvo, but they
Yeah.
do know the name the Boston Strangler, played by Tony Curtis in a very interesting movie. But anyway, Chelsea,
I auditioned for that role.
Massachusetts.
Yeah,
I
unfortunately,
did
didn't
not
get
see
it.
that. So you go to Chelsea.
Yeah. So I saw a reading of it there, and
Wow.
it was interesting because also they use people who are actors, but they're not, professional actors.
Right,
So
right. Yeah.
it's interesting to see that.
Yeah.
So to
Yeah.
get that vibe, I had a reading with the STLA last year of an entirely different play.
Right.
And then, like I said, in the summer of last year, I got the reading of Georgie Garcia, which was good. It was helpful. We got a pretty positive response, and so I thought I would continue working on it. So this draft that you saw was like an extended version of it. Like I probably, it was because the initial reading was 2:10, 2:13 in terms of the time, and this one was, I think, a half an hour longer.
Yeah.
So the goal is to make the play somewhere 5 hours, 5 to 7 hours, something like that. To make it like a real event. Maybe we can have like six intermissions.
It's an immersion. It's the artist immersion. I will tell you, I enjoyed the story and the extra kick for me. Not everybody's going to know the playwright, but having known you now, I have known you now for about 10 years.
Since we were 8 years old.
8, yeah, Southfield Wildcats.
Yeah.
Yeah. But knowing you really, this gave me a lot of insight. And as I was watching this, I would say, now it makes sense.
That's why he's like that. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. But I really like the actor who played Georgie Garcia, liked the actor who played his mother.
Yeah, she's great.
He was terrific. Yeah. And I don't know if the woman who was your narrator, great, or reading the stage notes, things like that. What a great job, and what a great voice. So
these are, you said that.
Yeah, these are things that I noticed, but yeah, I was very surprised that I was totally cognizant and conscious for the
I know.
for the entire thing. So me asking you to join me on this show is not me like saying, oh, I feel bad for that poor bastard. Let me see if he just wants to go.
That's what your email said, though.
That is. Oh, geez, I wrote that. I was.
Yeah.
Anyway, but now Segway King does have to wrap up. So Peter Pasco,
the wrap up king.
Yeah. The rap. You want to hear some of my rap? Nobody wants to hear that. No, but another episode, another time. Peter Pasco, actor, playwright. I want to thank you so much for joining me on the Dave Bean is a C-List Actor Zoomcast. It was a pleasure. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to see you. I can't believe that I actually haven't seen you in person since at least about a year before.
The before times, yeah,
the before times, because I think probably the last time that I saw you was on the back lot at NBC Universal.
Yeah, at the audition, on the audition line, yeah.
Truth be told, I saw you there, and I was probably doing a workout on the back lot. Yeah,
I was looking for my way around, and you just ran by. Yeah,
exactly. I'm sure I waved at you, but you know me, nothing stops me. But I get into that thing. The thing I missed the most about working for NBC Universal was being on that back lot, being able to work out of those hills and all those great sets and things like that.
Right.
But anyway, enough about me. Peter, I wish you all the best, and I genuinely hope that I've enjoyed our texts and our emails, but I want to make sure that we keep in touch. To me, and I will tell you, I've always thought you were a genuine artist. I've always, it sounds trite to say, I've always loved your work. I hold you in real high esteem. So thank you for being on my
You forgot
show.
the handsome part, but I'll let it go.
Well, I
asked you to read.
I say that
Handsome
for
as well.
me.
Oh,
I say, yeah, I don't book anybody who's better looking than me on the show. You don't know? You don't know that?
I know.
Okay.
I've heard from other people.
Exactly. Especially, by the way, the headshot on your IMDb page, great, looks fantastic. So.
Oh, good. A lot of editing.
Yeah.
Let me tell you. Some people are like, "Is that even you?"
Yeah, I was like,
well,
it looks like a Smurf. But anyway, so now what I'll do, Pete, is I do at the end of every one of my Zoomcasts, I think there's 2 buttons I press to end the Zoom call, because remember, I'm new at this. One, okay, there we go. It says end meeting for all. So, Pete, thank you so much, and I will be in touch and let you know when.
Yeah, I hope your niece is in touch when so I can send the headshot out. Yeah.
Me too. If you get cast before, that it would make way too much sense if you got cast by her before.
That's true. I agree.
Yeah.
I will do student films.
I've got some fences to mend. All right, take care, Peter.
Take care.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.